Hi there. Welcome to another whiteboard session. I hope that you're enjoying them. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about GIS and Esri. We get asked this question all the time, so I thought I'd just do a little whiteboard session and take you through it. GIS, we are we're an SSP innovations company, which means that we are an Esri Platinum partner. So I'm going to write that up here. We're a platinum partner. Right. Really, that just means that we're very tightly coupled to them. We do a lot of work with them, and we help companies around the world alongside Esri. That's all that means, really. But our technology sat on top of Esri, so I just wanted to kind of explain what that actually means. If you're Esri savvy, then this is going to probably make a lot of sense to you. If you're not, then hopefully you can take some things away from it that are useful or not. I'll keep it pretty high level, just a 5 minutes or something like that. So where do we start? Let's just draw out the architecture of GIS and Esri, basically, and where we sit together. So the first thing to note up here is GIS is a web-based solution solely. Right, we don't have desktop products with people editing the network, fiber networks in desktop anymore. So we're on the web. Now for ArcGIS technology and for Esri, that means one word really, enterprise. ArcGIS Enterprise, which I'm going to draw as a big cloud because that's what they do in theirs all the time. This is Esri's server and web technology system solution that allows you to access data, share data with people. It's all web services based, so you can do integrations, there's APIs here, you can interconnect everything. It's the modern GIS. In fact, I'm going to write that here. It's the modern GIS approach, right? You'll very often hear and refer to Esri calling it the next generation network management or whatever. Next generation network management has to be bred because that's modern GIS. So it has to be ArcGIS Enterprise. ArcGIS Enterprise, that always connects to data. We always need to put data down below, so that I'm not going to change anything there. I'm going to draw a database in here, and this is an Arc SDE Enterprise Geo Database standard, right? Nothing crazy there. We've got data sat here. We're exposing that data to ArcGIS Enterprise, and then you can do things that you're used to, right? You can create applications and things off of that. So where does GIS come in at the moment? We use a different color. So GIS, we've got a little bolt-on here onto the side called GIS server that sits within the ArcGIS Enterprise stack, basically. This is where a lot of our business logic sits. This is how we can understand how fiber cables are connected together and all of that. The business logic kind of sits there. We've got some server-side logic, we've got some client-side logic, which we'll get onto in a second, but this theoretically is how it works and is how it is enabled. We bolt on some functionality onto ArcGIS Enterprise. What we then do is in ArcGIS Enterprise you can have several things, right? So you can have feature services, you can have map services, you can have geoprocessing tools, GPTs. You can host all of these things as their own services on ArcGIS Enterprise, right? So we've got data. We can push data to ArcGIS Enterprise. We can expose that data through feature services, map services, geoprocessing tasks and tools. And on the side here, we've got a little something extra. GIS server is bolted on. What we then have is, I'm just going to draw it over here, is GIS web, which is accessed just through the end users access that through a browser. So that is accessed just through, I'm going to draw little computers here But this is a cloud solution. These are not desktops, but you're on your desktop, you're logging in through a browser, right? So you can access this through that. That's how the end users are getting to it, but it's a web-based solution. Now this 3GIS web, what it's doing is it reads a map service from ArcGIS Enterprise, and that map service has to have this enabled. So I've just put a little box here and tick it. So this bolt-on that we have, you enable that on the map service, and then our application calls that map service, which, if you remember, is just reading from this ArcSDE Enterprise Geodatabase. It's very simple. Now, the actual data itself, now you can have lots of things stored in an ArcSDE geodatabase, that's fine. 3GIS, we just store and we just need standard feature classes and tables. And we also use related records as well. That's how we store relationships and associations and things like that, right? So we've got standard feature classes, standard tables, standard related records in the Esri world, which we are exposing through ArcGIS Enterprise, through this map service, which has got 3GIS enabled, and then that pulls through to 3GIS Web. Everybody can get to that just through a browser. It's as simple as that, really. So there's a little bit more to it, obviously in detail, but in principle, this is how we enable the web modern GIS. The beautiful thing about that is, and we get asked this question all the time, because this is just standard feature classes, tables, related records, could I also do something like this? Could I bolt on up here, a dashboard? Could I bolt on here, just a web app? This is Esri, right? Enterprise Experience Builder, dashboard, something like that. Could I bolt these things onto ArcGIS Enterprise? That's standard technology, it's not custom at all. And could I use the same data here, the one that's feeding through to 3GIS Web, and this is bi-directional, of course, because whenever we make edits in 3GIS Web, it goes back to the database. Could I expose this same data to the web apps and the dashboards? And the answer is yes. It just takes a slightly different path, right? So it comes up, we'd probably push it out through a feature service instead, and that feature service would go out and be consumed by these web apps and dashboards. So it's very simple, actually. The customer, we fully leverage Esri, we fully leverage the modern GIS aspect of enterprise, because we don't have any, I'm going to draw a little lock sign here. It's not that one, is it? We don't have any locks on the features down here. We're just feature classes, which means that whilst we can consume them and edit them and do everything over here, and our business logic handles the connectivity and handles all the related records, etc. in the database, you can also expose those same features out to dashboards and web apps, and I could even put up here like field apps as well, right? Other things like that you can also expose this out to as well in exactly the same way. A common question then is, hey, could I use these things to kind of edit this data here? The answer there is yes and no. There's technically, you look at this, yes, right? But a lot of the business logic is happening here in ArcGIS Enterprise, and we only have that enabled here and here, right? So this is where the logic lives. I'll give you a classic example, right? A user over here draws in a structure, a fiber cable, and a structure. This fiber cable has 144 fibers in it. Now in the database, what we do down here is in the feature classes, we'll create 3 features. A manhole or a structure, another structure, so 1, 2, and a fiber cable, 3 features here. However, in the related records and the tables, what we'll do here is we'll create 144 records in the fiber table. For example, I mean, I don't want to get into the nuts and bolts because our data model is sort of our own proprietary information, but you get the idea that there's more going on here through this logic than these applications understand and can handle. Like, they don't understand if I create a cable with 144 fibers in it, I can't just create a line that has fiber 144 in an attribute. It needs to also put some information into these other classes, and only 3GIS Web and 3GIS Server really understands that. Yeah, we can talk about APIs, but let's do that in a future session. I think I'll leave it there for today. I hope that this was useful. If it was, let me know. If it wasn't, also let me know. Is there any questions that you still have about it? I'd be interested to understand. All right, cheers guys.